Alright guys, so I didn't intend to make this video, but obviously we have a problem, and yeah, I don't know what it is. I'll kind of give you guys a little backstory. So I have the BMW E60 5 Series with the N47 engine, so I have the 520D variant, and yesterday I was driving, I kind of noticed a few little issues, and I was kind of thinking if they was related in some way. So the first issue I had was the clutch. I had quite a big judder, like I would almost stall when I went to pull away. And now this really isn't an uncommon thing for BMWs. It's partly down to the clutch delay valve, but I've actually already deleted that. And it's sometimes down to the clutch disc itself being contaminated. And if you hold the clutch pedal at the biting point and then you hold the brake, essentially if you burn the, if you slip and burn the clutch a little bit, you can kind of clean it essentially. So I'd done that, and then after that, it seemed to pull away fine. There was no judder or anything like that. But then I noticed that I was trying to accelerate, I was trying to go into boost, and it seemed like the power wasn't really there. Now I did have the air conditioning on, so I thought, with the aircon on, obviously puts a little bit more strain on the engine, you're going to have a little bit less power. But then I thought, this really seems like a big difference for the aircon. Anyway, I turned the aircon off, and yeah, it was kind of really the same. Like, I was putting my foot down and the revs were climbing, but there wasn't really much power. Like, it kind of felt like my car had been detuned. It was really weird. Obviously my car has been remapped, so it should be running around 220 brake horsepower. And yeah, it was really strange. Like I said, at first I thought it was maybe something related to the clutch. Like, I thought the clutch was maybe slipping, but when the clutch slips, obviously the revs climb, but your speed doesn't. So obviously it doesn't engage the gear properly. But then I thought, no, like it seems fine. The clutch seems fine, in all honesty. So maybe it's something else. Maybe it's like a boost leak or something like that. Maybe, one of my hoses has popped off. Maybe I have a massive hole in one of them. And then I kind of thought, well, for the past like 6 or 8 months or so, I mean, it may have even been like this when I bought the car, just didn't really, pay any attention to it. There was kind of like a hissing sound from the left side of the engine. So I guess on the intake side, going into the intake manifold, that's kind of where it seemed like the hissing was coming from when I was driving, when I was going into boost. And yeah, I just kind of thought this was normal. I just kind of thought it was just like intake noise. Like I said, I haven't really noticed too big of an issue in the past. But then it made me think, maybe it's related, and maybe it has something to do with it. So yeah, I'm kind of thinking that we have a boost leak of some kind. I don't know if it's in the intake manifold, or, like I said, I don't know if it's in one of the boost pipes, whether it's in the intercooler itself. I really don't know, but I do really want to try and find out today, because yeah, I really just want to try and rule out any potential massive repair. Obviously, we've had the engine out, we've done the timing chain, we've done all of the gaskets, we've done all of the major jobs on this engine, so it is realistically only 1 or 2 things that it could be. But yeah, I just hope it's not something too big. But I think without further ado, we'll get outside, we'll get the car started up, and I'll actually show you sort of what the noise sounds like, and then we'll try and do a little bit of investigating. Okay, then, so we are in the car now. As you can see, the engine is started, no errors or anything like that. But now I think what I'm going to do is show you what the noise is, both inside the car and outside as well. I'll probably ask someone to step on the accelerator while I'm in the engine bay. And this is what it sounds like when you are in the car. So obviously we're not talking about the turbo noise, so obviously we can hear the turbo spooling up, but there's a hiss on this side in particular that you can definitely hear, especially when you're moving along. Okay then, so I think now what I'll do is I'll get outside, I'll pop the bonnet up, and I'll actually get someone else to step on the accelerator and just go into boost to around 2,500–3,000 RPM, and then you'll actually see what that noise is and what the big problem is. So let's do that now. Okay then, so we can see exactly what our problem is now. We can see that we have an air leak, we have a boost leak essentially, and it is leaking on the charge air pipe. So this is the pipe that runs from the bottom of the intercooler all the way to the anti-shudder valve on the intake manifold, and it is leaking in particular around this air intake temperature sensor. So yeah, I don't know if this is a seal or if it is just plastic molded into there. I think that's what it is. I think it's just molded into the pipe itself. But I think what we'll actually do is unplug the sensor, remove it because it just twists out, and then we'll see a little bit more in detail what's failed essentially. So let's get that out now. Okay then, so the electrical connector on it unplugs fairly easily. You just have to push the clip in and that pulls off. And then the sensor itself just twists out, so just have to twist it anti-clockwise, is it? Or clockwise? Ooh. Hold on. That doesn't seem right. Seems like a part of the electrical connector is broken off. Or is that just a part of the sensor? I don't know. This should just twist off. It doesn't seem like it wants to move. I don't know if that's a part of the sensor or if that's a part of the electrical connector. But yeah, that was quite difficult to take off. But now this should just twist off. There we go. Yeah, so you have to twist it anti-clockwise. And this should just pull out, he says. There we go, just needed a good firm pull. That's the air intake temperature sensor removed. And now we can get a good look at what is actually failed. And yeah, it just seems like the molding for where the sensor pushes into and twists into is just failed. It just seems like it's kind of ripped off the charge air pipe. So I think it's just going to be a case of needing to replace the entire pipe, to be honest, because I don't think that's going to seal back on there. I don't think you're going to be able to use some kind of silicone to seal that back on, because obviously it's under quite high pressure, isn't it? Okay, and so I'll show you a little bit closer in a little bit more detail. You can see it is just the kind of like the molding or the bracket itself that is, I guess it's just like plastic welded into the actual air intake pipe. Yeah, it kind of looks like it's just ripped off at the bottom. I can't see like a rubber seal or anything that seals it on, because this doesn't remove. So yeah, I'm guessing it just needs a new intake pipe, to be honest. But yeah, not good. But yeah, I think in the meantime I'm just going to go ahead and plug the sensor back in and try and temporarily seal it up, maybe with some electrical tape. I don't know, maybe I can try and wrap it around the pipe. We'll try and see anyway. We'll get this plugged in, get it all get the electrical connector plugged back in, and then we'll see what solution we can come up with. Okay, then, so we got the sensor back in, it's plugged back in now, and yeah, I think what I'm going to try and do is try and put some like electrical tape around the pipe, just to try and hold this pipe, and I don't know how much pressure that's going to be able to withstand, but it's worth a go, I guess. Obviously it's not going to be a long-term fix, but anything that, you know, means that I can not be losing all of my boost just out of this small hole here is better than nothing, I guess. So yeah, let's get some electrical tape and let's try and wrap it round. Okay then, so I think to get in here to try and wrap something around the pipe, because it's quite close to the oil filter and the dipstick, I can't really get anything around there. I think it's just going to be easy just to disconnect this pipe from the anti-shudder valve. So just lift off the engine cover, lift these two cables out, and pop this clip off the anti-shudder valve. There we go, and this should pull off. There we are. Okay then, so this is kind of how we're looking. Kind of feels like it's in place now, but I guess we'll soon find out. Let's plug this back in. Pop back on, drop the clip in. There you go. And now we'll start it up and see if we notice any difference. Okay then, so it hasn't fixed it completely. I did feel you know, some air coming out. There is still obviously a boost leak, but it did seem somewhat less than it was before, so maybe it's helped sealed it a little bit, which is, you know, obviously a good thing. You know, putting tape around it is obviously not a permanent fix. We will need a full replacement pipe. But until I get that, it will be drivable. Now obviously I'll just have reduced power, so yeah, that's a nice little temporary partial fix for now, and yeah, we'll go take for a drive. Okay then, so just took it for a little test drive, and like I said, you know, obviously the boost leak is still there, but it's somewhat reduced. You know, when I was driving it yesterday, like, I would plant my foot down and it'd be like nothing, and still nothing, like all the way up until 4,500 revs. And yeah, I'm kind of glad that I found out the cause of the problem. You know, I'm glad that it's not something much more serious. Like I said earlier, I'm glad it's not like, you know, slipping clutch or something like that. But yeah, you know, it's obviously, it's just one of them. It is what it is. You know, when a car's 12 years old, you know, pipes, whether that be boost pipes or coolant pipes, they are gonna, you know, fail in one way or another. So yeah, I'm just glad that it's something just as small as a boost leak. But yeah, I hope this video has been you know, somewhat exciting for you guys, finding out what the actual issue is. You know, it could have been something, like I said, it could have been something much worse than what it was. But yeah, I think it's been a real eye-opener. That, you know, if you do experience some power loss, don't fear the worst. You know, it could just be something as small as a boost leak. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and please remember to give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you all in that next one. Peace!